And in the continuation, we're gonna talk about the other parts of the floors, which are actually mode that we talked about it before, and right now we're gonna talk about shape editing, which this, and also about reinforcement, coordination, as I mentioned before, are related to the structural floors or the slabs. In fact, the coordination and also reinforcement are available for the structural floors, so it is not functional in architectural floors. And as you can see, structural here is not checked, and since we have used Dynamo, coordination here is available for us. I have selected all of the floors, so normally coordination is not available for architectural floors. And when we use this tool, structural analyze, analytical automation, when we use this, then we got access to coordination as well. And if we enable structural by this way, then we got access to reinforcement as well, as you can see. Anyway, I want to select all of the floors, filter, check none, floors, okay. And I uncheck a structural, and I remove them. Okay, since I just want to talk about the architectural floors. Anyway, let's move on. As soon as we, let me delete this. As soon as we select the floor, then in ribbon in modifier floors, we got shape editing. It enables us to modify or revise the floor in a 3D way without opening edit boundary environment. I mean, with we can deform it, we can edit the shape of the floor, like modify sub-elements that manipulates points and edges on the selected slab, roof, or floor. And the sub-elements are points, split lines, and supports, so it enables us to reshape the edges or points, which these are the points or the control points that if we click on them, we'll have some settings like elevation, base, elevation, and so on by this way. Watch this. So modify sub-element enables us to get access to the sub-elements of the selected floor, and when we click on reset shape, it returns it to its default mode. Firstly, I click on modify sub-elements, and then if we enable it, as you can see, the cursor of the mouse is changed, and whatever points or which point we select, then we can pick the grips and move them upwards or downwards, and then deform the floor. Also, we can import the value directly. Watch this. We can specify it or then reset it again. Modify sub-elements 1500. Here the warning message says that thickness of the floor might be slightly inaccurate due to extreme slope. So as a result, the shown thickness is not accurate because of the extreme shape editing. And as you can see, dimensions to the element in sections, details may not accurately indicate the thickness shown in the type properties. But here if I cut or section it, the shown thickness will be different to the specified thickness. So this was the general message of the warning message. Let me see, I want to measure the thickness. Watch this. As you can see, it is more than 300, which is different to the specified value. So if you edit the shape of the floor extremely, it may affect on the exact thickness of the floor. That if you click on warning here, you can check it out. Close. Or you can select the edges or points and then move them. Check this out and then deform the floor. And you can create whatever you want, convert it to whatever geometries, whatever shapes, and then click on reset to reset it to its default mode. And right now if I select the floor and then if I want to associate some fill regions here in material, I search for floor. Let's see if we got something for floor or not. For instance, I want to choose this stone and then associate this texture. However, I prefer to associate the texture of rectangle or square. Okay. For instance, like this. Apply and OK. Watch this. Right now, if I click on modify sub-elements, add points, I can add reshaping points to the selected floor. So we can add some extra points here, and note that in the new version of Revit some other options are added like these: elevation and elevation base. But previously we only had access to elevation in option bar, not elevation base. But right now we got along surface and absolute and some options in elevation base, as you can see. Well done. I reset the floor and then I want to move it in relation to the level, for instance 0. By this way, then I click on add point, absolute, watch this, and the next one is along surface. Watch this, absolute and along surface. What are the differences between two? Let me specify 0 for height offset from level. Then I open another level, for instance level 1. Let me check the difference between level 1 and the structural level, which is 10, as you can see. The structural and the floor plan by this way. Now the difference is only 10 centimeters. Anyway, we continue. I select it, add point. If I click on a long surface, we can add a point in relation to the surface. For example, 500 for the offset from surface. Then if I click, watch this, and clicking on OK, then it will be added on the surface considering the specified offset. For example, the current level for the base level. That if I select this point, watch this, or opening the north view, watch this, south view, check it out. Then if I measure the distance from the point to the level, minus 10 to the point 500. This is the offset that we specified for the point for a long surface. And right now, if I consider it from here to the point, the offset is 400. And right now we are in level 1, and as we have specified 500, watch this, the elevation of element from the elevation base coordinate. This is the elevation from the current level. Clicking on delete, and again add point. In the next part, I get back to here. However, if I specify minus 500 for higher offset from level, check it out, it is effective too. So when we click on along surface, it adds the point relation to the surface or along the surface. If I specify 500, it considers the offset relation or associated to the surface. But if we click on absolute, it considers the level as the base, and this causes your geometry to be reshaped by this way. Again, I reset it. So if I click on along surface and I specify a value for offset from surface, it will be considered in relation to the surface. But if we click on absolute, the distance will be considered in relation to the level. And we have specified the same value for both of these points, but one of them is along surface and the other one is absolute. And the next option, let me reset it at first. Here, which one we select? We got offset from surface, but we got elevation where we click on absolute because it specifies the elevation of element from the elevation base coordinate. Then in the next part I will talk about the elevation base.